Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome. Please pay attention to the following announcement from your streaming host. International streaming rules and regulations require me to provide the following information. I am on the Xbox Series S. I have the deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We will be flying the Kitfox. I think it's the Series 5 STI. We will be departing from Leknes and we will be flying back there. We're basically going to tour all these. We're going to try to check out all these little points of interest here. I am not taking requests for flights. My flight schedule is created well in advance and is subject to change based on my own personal schedule. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are vintage aviation flights. Tuesdays are jetliner, regional jet, regional prop services. Thursdays are military aviation flights. Saturdays, we have Lightning Saturday featuring the Lockheed P-38. Sundays are our Scenic flights. Any other information can be found in the description area below the video. Thank you for your attention. All right, so let's go in here and get started. Ooh, I got to change the flight conditions before we go. We do not want an overcast flight. Just have nice clear skies. Good morning, Mick. Nice to see you here, sir. Mick, how are you today? I don't have a funny song for folks in the chat, sorry. Mr. Addies. Mr. Addies. All right. So we should have, okay, yeah, all the PRI is over there. Okay. Let's get this thing started up. The old thing before I forget. All right. I got a little olive drab Kitfox today. Oh, nice. Nice, Mick. So we're going to do this flight. We're going to check out these, it's basically a chain of islands down in, what's that? It's like power poles, but they're not rendered in. They're like a little drawing. That's kind of weird. And then we're going to head over to Red Bluff, California. It's a fictional airport that we're going to be taking off from, and we're going to head over towards Lake Almanor and then down into Reno and landing in another fictional airport, and then we will wrap it up for today. Everybody enjoys the flight, the scenery. All right, let's just go. And away we go. Didn't even have to pull back on the stick. Kind of did its own thing. We're just going to head... Actually, it's turning on its own. Look at that. Not too much there. I could dial in some altitude, I think. Turning too much, and you're going to stall me out. Oh, this thing does not want to... It's got its own agenda this morning. Goodness gracious. I should have said all these things beforehand. Alright. All right. Other way, other way, other way, other way, other way. Yeah, I should have set all this stuff up before I took off. So yes, it's a very popular vacation area in Norway, apparently. I did not know this. Hello. Oh, hello, Amela. I thought Joseph was saying hi to me again or something, or to Mick. Good morning, Amela. How are you? Nice to see you here. Welcome. We are heading over these, it's like a string of islands, basically. I want to get a little bit more altitude so we can just kind of... Oh, I meant to tell you, Amela, that Irish pub, the picture I posted, or the link I posted, I believe, I don't remember, I think I had a really good, like, pub-style cheeseburger there when Doris and I visited there. So, I know you like hamburgers, so if you want some, I'm sure they still sell it there. I guess you would have to check the menu, but yeah, I think you would be quite content with the food there. I'm doing well. Yeah. Just have this nice sweet flight. Got started a little bit behind schedule. Things did not want to start up correctly this morning, trying to get everything saved and sorted for the stream. So yeah, there's like, it's all, well, I don't know if they're necessarily islands, but it feels from the air, it seems like this is all islands. And but they have beaches here, they have inland lakes, like here's a lake right there. But yeah, it just seemed like it would be one of these cool places just to kind of check out. We can go back around a couple times. It's not a big deal. And then we'll do that bush flight over there in Red Bluff, California. I'm really looking forward to that one. It should be a lot of fun. I think we're going to start. I think we need to nickname Mr. Addies Crash Addies. Kind of like James Hunt's nickname was Shunt. I think we need to start calling him Crash Addies. Oh boy. I don't think there's any way. I'm guessing you'd have to take a boat over here or something, because there's no like little airstrip over here anywhere where you could land. No, it wasn't too badly priced. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was, you know, it was different. You know, it was something different than I think we had gone to. We either eaten at the restaurant. I don't know. No, I don't think we ate at the restaurant there at the hotel. We just, you know, I think we went to some different places, but it was a nice. I think we did that on the day that we ended up going to Central Park, into the Met, or the was it the Met? Yeah, the Met Museum, the art. So it was. I think that was when we went up there. Yeah, we walked up Fifth Avenue to Central Park, and she Dora certainly loves Fifth Avenue. All the name brand shops and everything. She thoroughly enjoyed that. Yeah, these seem like very beautiful areas. I mean, I'm sure the beaches are well taken care of. You know, like just people don't leave trash there and stuff like that. I remember, like, when I visited Spain, it was like that. It was a very clean beach, you know. Bet you there'd be some nice snorkel swimming out here along these, you know. I guess if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can go scuba diving out there. But yeah, this looks like a great place for some snorkeling. Thank you all for the thumbs up so far. Greatly appreciate it. Tomorrow we'll be back in Eucharist 52, heading from Heraklion to Matru. So that should be a good flight. Looking forward to continuing the journey to the former Dutch East Indies, Indonesia. Yeah. Exactly. As well as I think a lot of the name brand, you know, like clothing and stuff, a lot of them have like their own shops, you know, along there. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I didn't like driving around New York City. Chicken salad and homemade cookies with a latte. Ooh, homemade cookies. That does sound spectacular. That does sound good. Chicken salad sounds good too. I'm guessing that's homemade as well, not the stuff out of the can. I do like a chicken salad sandwich. That does sound good. north back home, Grand Central isn't too far. Yeah, yeah. Because the hotel where we stayed at wasn't too far from the train station. I really wish I'd gone in there to check it out. Yeah, we walked over to Times Square, which wasn't, I mean, it was a nice walk, you know. We just took our time getting there, and then we had lunch at Bubba Gump Shrimp Factory. And, but, you know, the weather was kind of like, that day, so we just kind of looked around, and I liked it because there was, you know, when I played the video game Division, there was places there. No, well, I had to rent a car to go pick her up at, I think she flew into JFK. Either JFK or Newark LaGuardia, one of those two. But I think it was JFK because it was like getting to a parking spot, or the parking, you know, parking place there near where she was going to be arriving. That was a challenge, finding that, and then parking, and then I was like trying to figure out how do I pay for the parking. It was like, you know, and then unfortunately, it took forever for her to get through customs. So I was standing there, and I'm like, okay, and I, you know, it said that the flight was on time, but I'm like, what is going on? So yeah, she said it was just a full flight, and they had a lot of people to get through customs before you could go out into the passenger area. Yeah, JFK. Yeah. So yeah, I was like sitting there waiting, and I was like, did something happen, or, you know? But yeah, it was just, there were so many people to get through customs, and it took her forever to get through there. And then finally, it was like, there she was. You know, I was like, what? But you know, it took a while because she, you know, once she got off the plane and went towards the customs area, you know, then she finally pulled her phone out, and okay, and then it was like, okay, at least I know she's on the ground in the airport. So yeah, it was just a matter of time, but it was like the longest wait ever. Well, it was just at first because I didn't hear from her, and it took a while because, you know, she had to get her bags and everything, and then go to customs, and then she had to, you know, take it out of her phone and turn it on, and then it was like, okay, then we could at least communicate, and she would kind of tell me where she was, but they were just, there were so many people there that it took forever for her to get through customs, and I was just like, man, if I'd known, I would have taken my time getting there. You know. And then we, you know, getting to the hotel downtown from the airport was a challenge. Hello, Josh. You know, because if you don't know the area, it's easy to get lost. And yeah, so it was just like, when we, you know, then of course the way everybody drives in the city, very aggressive, very like, you know, they don't care if you are in the, you know, lane next to them. If they're like in one of them big SUVs, they just immediately move right over. They don't care. So you had a lot of people cutting other people off, and just all kinds of stupidity. So yeah, it was a mess, but it was nice to walk around. Like, I enjoyed walking around the city, to actually see, you know, experience the city walking around it. But driving around it, oh, no thanks. I think if I was living in New York, I would not have a car, because you can walk almost everywhere. You can take the you know, there's other ways to get around, but yeah, driving around, forget it. No. Or I would take a taxi or an Uber or something like that. Let somebody else deal with it. Yeah. Yeah, I was like, no. no, I couldn't do this on a regular basis. I told her if she comes to visit again, she's going to have to fly into Syracuse. I'm like, I'm not going back to the city to get you. You could land somewhere else, go through customs, and then take a continuing flight to Syracuse. I'm not going back to JFK to get you. I think she would like Syracuse as well. Oh, this was back in... Matter of fact, it was around about this time 3 years ago. Yeah. I was... she came for a visit. I was still in school at the time at the community college and was wrapping up my final semester there. And then at the same time when she visited, I was getting a scholarship. I'd gotten, you know, I'd applied, and not that I needed it, but my department chair was like, apply for it, end of story. And I'm like, okay, you'll get it, don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. He said, because if I didn't know this, if scholarships, if nobody applies for it, yeah, 2019, then the money just, it doesn't get used or anything, and then it's just like it's not like it rolls over and then there's more money next time. It's just like it, you know, it's a waste that it doesn't get used. And the process for it is not that, you know, all you had to do is fill out an application online, and then you submit that, and then you get a you know, they go through a review process, and then they once they figure out who will be the recipient, then you get a notification that you've been awarded it, and then you the thing they want you to do afterwards is you have to write a nice thank you card or thank you note to the folks who are the who give the scholarship, basically. And then they and then you have the option. They prefer you to go, because usually a lot of times the people who made or created the scholarship, they have like a little dinner ceremony thing, and especially for the folks who get like the bigger scholarships, you know, they get to, you know, they want you to go up there, shake their hand, and they take a picture with you and everything. Like, it's a, you know, it's kind of a really big deal. For some folks that I knew, they got some really good scholarships, and so that helped them out a lot. So yeah, but it was like not a. It wasn't really so much a dinners. They just had like you know, like small food, you know, nothing really significant. So it was like, you know, because you think, oh, they're going to have a nice fancy sort of, you know, thing, because it's, you know, it's a big deal. But no, it was like, you know, it wasn't really much to speak of as far as food goes, you know. But so we drove from the city back here, and then, you know, we went to the dinner and everything, and then drove back to the city. And I was so tired by the time we got back to the city. I was just like, oh, I could not. I was just wiped out doing all that driving. So I'll go a little bit more. There we go. I think now we're on. Good. Maybe even a little bit more. Wow. But yeah, it was a long day. But yeah, I was like, you know, I kept telling my department chair, I was like, I said, my school's paid for by my GI Bill. I said, I don't really need the money. He said, just take it, because I think the reality was there was nobody that he thought was qualified for the scholarship for that semester, and so he was just like, just do it. It's fine. I'm like, okay, you say so. I would have to come back here with a little plane and come in here and land on that lake. Well, that would be fun coming in through here. Well, it was much, like, I can only compare it to my, San Francisco, it's, because those are the two, when you think of major cities in America, those are two, like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, places like that, those are names that most everybody recognizes. And even though there's, in San Francisco, it is a lot of hustle and bustle and just, very, hectic sort of life in the city. San Francisco's nowhere near compared, because it's like New York is much more condensed, it seems like. And it's a much more hectic pace, I think. And it was just like, man, I thought I could deal with it. Like San Francisco, you could easily, especially depending on what time of day you went, like rush hour, you were like, okay, I understand it's rush hour. But New York, it's like constant rush hour. So I was like, oh man, it was nice to visit. I'm glad to say I got a chance to go to New York City. I like it, but I would not. Living there would just be too, oh, no thanks. I like to be able to go for a visit, but not, I don't think I would want to live there at all. It's just too condensed. Well, it's interesting you say that, Nick. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't appreciate, because you get so used to being, like where I grew up in California, you got used to that noise, the traffic and the sirens, and and when you go to a place where it's quiet, like when I would go visit my grandparents, and it's a much slower life, everybody just kind of, you had a lot of retirees, and it was just like this nice, easygoing thing. It's very strange. It feels weird because you're so used to, like, when I would go up there to visit, the first night I was always like, it's too quiet. Why am I not hearing the things that I normally hear? And but yeah, it's nice, but yeah, I would like that. But it's also like, there's like certain things about the city that I would miss. There's a lot of things about San Francisco that I miss. I miss being able to go to Chinatown and Japanese Cultural Center, for instance. Going to the San Francisco Giants baseball games, and all along Fisherman's Wharf, all the food and everything there, that you can get like a bowl of clam chowder in a bread bowl, and it's like this amazing thing. And so yeah, there's things I miss, but I don't know that I would want to live there. It's just too, it's almost too claustrophobic in a way, I think. That people, when it's like that many people condensed on one another, it's like I think that's why you have a lot of people they're angry, they're frustrated, because there's just, you don't feel like there's any room for you to exist as an individual. Hello, Vince. Welcome to the stream. I don't think I recognize your name, so I will give you the quick rundown of what's going on. I am on the Xbox Series S. I have the deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are currently flying the Kitfox 5 here around this island areas near Leknes, Norway. We will be heading back to the airport pretty soon. I am not taking requests for flights. My flight schedule is created well in advance and is subject to change based on my own personal schedule. Thank you. Yeah, exactly, Mella. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just, but I mean, it was neat to visit, because you hear about a lot of these, you hear about New York City and you're like, oh man, I'd really like to go and check this out myself. And then when you go, you're just kind of like, I don't know how people can do it, So, yeah, but I mean, I think there's a kind of a romantic notion about living in the city, because there's all that, there's all this food and culture and everything, and you can just go anywhere. You can try all kinds of different foods in the city, and you can go shopping at department stores, or you could find like small oh, congratulations, Vince. Hopefully you enjoy it. So yeah, it's just yeah, I used to always think, and I told Doris this once, I said I always just had this vision of falling in love with a woman who lived in the city. But then it's like, nah, I don't think it would have worked. But yeah, so. Well, look who it is. Ooh, oh, I didn't even know you were gone, Joseph. So I quite don't know. I didn't know that you had left, first off. So. Yeah, we could probably do that. I know she would love to go back to the city. And I think what it'd have to be is that I would have to kind of arrange things even better. But it's hard for her right now to take vacation time because she's working in a new government department, new to her, and she is just swamped with a lot of work. And so yeah, she can't get away right now because she's one of those key people that is kind of holding things together, I guess. So yeah, which I don't like because it feels like she's doing a lot of the work and not getting all the credit. Yeah. So what was I going to say? Oh, so Vince, I'm glad you got the game. I didn't want to ignore you or anything. I just wanted to. But anyway, if you scroll down below the video, there's a link to the forums for Microsoft Flight Simulator. So if you have any questions, I'm not sure if you're on. Hold on, Amela. If you're on the PC or if you're on the Xbox side. But if you have a lot of questions, those are the places that the forums can generally answer a lot of your questions, because anything that you are experiencing, somebody else has experienced it already, and they can kind of tell you how to fix it. So I made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches last night. That's all. Nothing fancy, because it's been so warm here. I'm just like, I don't feel like eating anything heavy, or just like it's just doesn't, it's like ugh. So yeah, if I eat when it's really warm or hot, summertime, if I eat heavy, I'm just like I'm like miserable. So yeah. But welcome, Vince. Yeah, generally most questions that you might have, the forums have a lot of the answers. And if you're on the Xbox side, whenever stuff comes out on the PC side, don't expect it to be released on the Xbox right away. That way you won't be set up for disappointment. There's a lot of things that they're working on bringing more complex aircraft to the sim. To the Xbox side, it's just taking them some time to figure out how to do that. And they think by July they'll have the fix done. So. 35. Well, probably less than 35. We'll circle around here. We'll go fly over here and then turn back around a little bit. Try to fly through more of that little inland area there with more of the waterways and lakes, maybe. Check that out. Then we'll go in for landing. Then we'll hop over to our next flight. That one's going to take a little bit longer. It's going to take about an hour or so, I think. It should be nice and scenic as well. Yeah, we're just over these. It's like a vacation area here near Leknes, Norway. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologize if I'm not. I tried to, like, you know, if you Google the name of the area, you can click on something that has like the pronunciation, and I'm trying to, hopefully I'm getting it right. All right. Yeah, we'll go down through here a little bit and we'll come back around and head back towards the airport. We'll call in for landing. And we'll go over to California and we'll do that flight real quick and we'll be done. I shouldn't say right quick, but it'll be a nice, relaxing flight as well. And I didn't realize that, because I was looking online yesterday, like from Red Bluff to Lake Almanor, a little town called Chester, it says it's about an hour or 10 or something like that, time-wise. It seemed to me that it took longer. Yeah. I just have the windows cracked. It's not like so bad that I can't just, you know, with the windows open it's fine, but it's just still like I don't like eating heavy in weather like this. It's just because the road or the way you go from Red Bluff to Chester, it's not like a straight shot. There's a lot of curves and whatnot. It's not a quick drive, but it's very scenic. I remember that when I'm going up there, because that's how we would go is through Red Bluff. But what would happen is, for the summertime, we would meet my grandparents in a town called Willows, which is about the halfway point, and then we would drive back up to Chester. And but we would stop off in Red Bluff for, I think, for gas and stretch our legs, and then we would get up in there to the end of the hills, and so yeah, we'll see if we can kind of go along the find the road from the air once we get going. Come back to the right just a smidge. And I think the airport, that's the only one we should be well, I didn't even, yeah, that's alright. All of our camping gear there. This has been a nice little, because I was looking for somewhere else that we haven't really flown before, and this seemed like a good place to kind of check out some scenery. I would take a shot at the names, but I think I would completely annihilate the names. Let's see. 02, that's what I thought. Okay. I had to double check because I thought, did it say runway 20? It's over here, but let me just double check real quick. So I didn't come up with I didn't put a flight plan together. We'll find it. It's fine. Because that should have been our first POI right there off the tip of the tail, right there. So our airport should be right somewhere off the tip of the tail over there. Going to All right, we'll be on the... Oh, thank you all for the 8 likes. Appreciate that. Kind of looks like an airport right there, but I might be wrong. We'll head over that way anyway. Well, this has been rather interesting scenery, something different. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. Next Sunday we'll be in Bilbao. Hope I'm saying that correctly as well. We're going to do some flying over there. We'll take off from the airport there in Bilbao, and then we'll head over to Santander. But it should be a nice scenic flight as well. Check out some of the places around there. There is a bridge. We might fly under the bridge. We'll see if we can do that. If it looks like it's passable, we will get right under there and have a bit of fun. We did one on Wednesday when we were doing the flight in Tasmania. There was a bridge, and so I was like, I gotta chance it, and made it. It was a bit, because I was coming in a bit fast, and I had to like really nose down to get low enough. I thought for sure I was going to hit it, but I made it. It was a lot of fun. Really been enjoying flying with Captain Arish in the Mondays and Wednesdays when he flies the around the world tour in the 172. I do believe that is that should be our airport. Yep, that looks like it. Either that or we're going to land on a crazy looking road. One of the two is about to happen. Lead off a lot of altitude here. Looks like an interesting place. It almost looks like a school or something, maybe, or some kind of a business building. Huh. Looks pretty neat. Yep, there's our airport. I guessed correctly. Yay. All right, really get off the altitude here. All right. No. No, she's not. No, she's in Mexico City. I think I told you that before, Mela. There we are. There's already a parking spot for us. That's okay. I wish she was here, but I'm sure I wish she was here. I was there. You know. And somewhere in between, we will find a place, I guess. Out of my way, van. What are you doing? I guess this is not... There's a tower here, but it must not be... Nobody might be there on the weekends. There we are. Let's turn our lights off. There we go. 46 minutes of flying. Not too shabby. Yes, I did see, I heard about that, Abella. Definitely. Let me just make a quick note of this on my spreadsheet, and then we will head on to the next. It didn't give me credit for a takeoff or a landing. Wow, okay. That's interesting. All right. All right, here we go. All right. Back to main menu. All right, here we go. Let's see. Yeah, apparently he never had done any kind of flying, he just like got in there and took care of business. 4-2 Bravo Charlie. Bush plane camp right there. I'm gonna add a little bit of sunlight to the I hate when I do that. Parking 6 right there. And we are going to K or here. Now, there's not the way that they have this set up. So, I think we're going to go with runway 10. Let's see here. Did I do a VOR to VOR? Is that? No. I think I added the airport there. There we go. That's why. There we go. Perfect. All right. I don't know. That landing was perfect, and he knows a lot of the instrument data and their meaning. I guess I do. I mean, I try my best. I'm not sure. Well, I've heard a lot about the Ryanair pilots, but thank you for the compliment. So this is our little campground. I'll show you guys. I still think this is the coolest thing about this. There's our little campsite. Right there. So let's go back in here and get our campsite put away. Get everything started up. Like runway 36 is at the other. Okay. Let me put on all sorts of stuff here so we can take off and let's see. It was like a I want to say like either like a Nissan Sentra or a Toyota Corolla, one of those, you know, something that's nice and it's really good on gas kind of thing. I just remember that. I think this is our runways down here. Departure end. A bunch of different little bush planes here. Yeah, it was when because when I was going through the car rental agency, I was like, I got to find something that's, going to be good on gas and everything. Because I wasn't sure how much driving we were actually going to do, so that's why I was like, let me get something that'll be good on gas there. It must be facing uphill because now the plane doesn't want to move on its own. I don't want to be heading towards the trees when we take off. Come on, plane. Any other time you're ready to go. All right, let's just go. Alright, and away we go. Oh, yeah. We're kind of cutting a line here. So there's our little fictional landing strip there behind us. And then this should be the road. It takes you... Nope, you may not be down there yet. Nope, that's not it. Oops. Forgot to shut that off. All right, towards Lake Elmonor here. Oops, there we go. So the town of Red Bluff is back behind us there, the actual area of Red Bluff. Now we're kind of get back towards closer to the line there. This is a really beautiful area. Now, unfortunately, a lot of these areas get destroyed in wildfires, you know, for various reasons. Either it's a lightning strike, or in some cases, the power company has equipment that is out of date and really should have been, you know, replaced long time ago. But yeah, it's a really neat area. I was fortunate to be able to grow up and see a lot of this area. A little bit higher. Yeah, this is. I was on the fence about this plane, but I'm glad I got it because it's fun to fly. Like I never really thought much about, you know, bush flying, but it's for me it's very similar to the scenic flights that we've been doing already. Yeah. Get a picture once we get over to by Lake Almanor. The road, I think the road's kind of like very difficult to find. That the main, oh, that might be it over there. Yep, that might be it to our left. That looks very familiar. It looks like it could be out. Let's go a little bit higher because I think we're gonna end up in some it was Joseph and his question of the day. What could it be? What could Joseph's question be? Check. All right. Yeah, a lot of the road that or the going from Red Bluff to Chester, it's you know, you're right along the side of the of these, you know, valleys and canyons and such. I mean, I never really appreciated it when I was a kid because I would always have my. It was more about getting my Walkman on and, you know, which, you know, in retrospect was disrespectful to my grandparents. And, I remember one time my grandfather said, you know, because, you know, Walkman, you have like it's a little cassette tape. And he said, well, we can listen to a little bit of your music. I think my grandmother lasted about 30 minutes before she said, okay, that's enough. You know, because they grew up in the era of like big band music and stuff like that. So 80s music was like just a foreign concept to especially to my grandmother. She did not care for it much at all. And I wasn't even listening to the hard music like my brother was. And my brother was all into the heavy metal scene, which is fine. You know, there's a lot of bands that I didn't like at first, but I came to like later on. But yeah, she could not handle his. Definitely could not handle his music. I think he buggered off of Mello. Because I think Joe's streaming right now, so he's probably watching Joe at the same time. That's my guess. this looks fantastic over on the Posh channel. Yeah, I think that's what he did, Mela. He's probably over in Joe's stream right now. You know, he likes to have like 3 or 4 different streams going at the same time. A little bit more altitude here. I figured as much, Mick. What can you do? Your own personal addies. Someone to be in your chat. Someone who cares. Reach out and touch the thumbs up. Alright, we've got 20 nautical miles to the airport there in Chico. Can't switch over quick enough on the phone. Yeah, exactly. Kind of like what Para was saying, you know, or somebody was saying the other day, I think it was Para, talking about the, you know, having 4 different screens open. Like sometimes I have a hard enough time paying attention to one chat, one stream. So trying to watch multiple at the same time, like, yeah, it's a little hectic. So that should be Mount Lassen right there, if I remember correctly. It is a volcano. I think you could still drive up to the summit there. There was a road that would take you up to the summit of Mount Lassen. And so the national forest here by Lake Almanor is called Lassen National Forest. It's a part of the Parks Department of the Interior. I had streams on watching it. Yeah, 4. Yeah, I've done that before, but it's just like I can't, you know, trying to, because I can't hear them all at the same time, so it's like I have to mute 3 and hear 1, and then, you know, mute that one and go find a different one. You know, it's like just too much. Look at this. Sorry about the sirens in the back. Somebody's going to the hospital, it sounds like. Somebody's getting pulled over. Sounds like somebody's getting pulled over. Look at this. You know, if I had a yoke, we would just like fly through here. I would fly manually with the yoke and all that because it would be so much fun. Trying to, oh, my thumb gets so tired after a while. Now, Reno isn't far from Lake Almanor. Pretty quick drive to get there, I think. Should be Lake Almanor right there, and the airport is just as you come into town. Because I always knew when we were close, because there's a part where you go uphill a little bit, and then you look over the crest and downhill, and there's Chester. And then you go on down the hill there, and then you can run into, either go straight into town, or you take a right and head towards the peninsula there. But the area's really boomed over the years. A lot of people bought property there, you know, huge developments. It's not as quiet as it used to be, I don't think. You know, wealthy people from the Bay Area built their vacation homes up there. They go up during the summer, and they have their nice boats and stuff like that. We're in California. We are heading towards Lake Almanor, which is right there in front of us, Mick. We left an area called Red Bluff. It's not a huge town, you know, it's decent size. But I remember we would go up Interstate 5 from Willows, because that's the main highway there, and then we would turn off at Red Bluff and then go into town, get gas, maybe stop off and grab something to eat, and then go. It's like this very windy way to get from Red Bluff to Chester. It was not like a straight, there was no straight shot. There was no way to get there, like, go, you know. So we're in California. We're going to head over into Nevada here pretty soon. It's, you know, this area is not very far from the Nevada-California state line. But I always knew that the drive was coming to an end. As soon as I could see down that hill, and I could see the little bit of the airport and everything, then I'm like, we're finally here. So, yeah, I miss this area. It was a lot of, I'm really glad I got to grow up and visit a place like this, you know, over the years when I was younger. And it was like, I think it was good because, you know, my brother, we'd each get a week with my grandparents, my mom's mom and dad, during the summer. So, you know, one of us would go first, and then we'd do like a swap out. We'd drive up to Willows, and if it was my brother, if he went up first, then I would, you know, we'd swap out, and then I would go up, or vice versa. So that was our summer, basically our summer vacation. Part of it, at least, was to go spend time with my grandparents. You know, we'd play gin rummy. We'd sit out there on the porch of the cabin and play gin rummy, or my grandfather and I would go down to the lake, and I would either go swimming at the lake, or we'd go fishing or whatever. The area you're flying over now, is there? Yeah, this is there's Mount Lassen there, Chester, Lake Almanor, but the town is called Chester. The lake is called Lake Almanor. But we're basically in Northern California. If you go further from here, at some point you're going to cross over into Oregon. That should be the road there. I think that's the road that eventually takes you into. Yeah, that looks like it. So we've flown over here a couple times, Mick, I think, since you've been watching me fly. We've taken off from the airport here in Chester. I think this was one of the first areas. Once I got kind of comfortable with different aircraft, I think we flew from here down to Concord, California. But this is all like, basically this is a very large national forest area. The cabin that my grandparents used to live in, the backyard is all national forest. And my grandfather, I mean, he really took care of it. Like, he didn't do anything that, you know, he took care of the land around it, and, you know, what he would do is he would take rocks that he would find, and he built like these little stone walls. He didn't really put like any kind of thing to keep it together. He would just stack it, and he would find a rock and he'd put it over here. And, that was like his thing that he did just to kind of respect the land. He didn't hunt. He would always buy like a huge bag of deer feed, and then I remember in the summer, and even in the fall still, before the deer kind of went elsewhere to find food, he had this huge like plastic garbage can, one of the big tall ones, and it had a lid, and then he had like a used pot that you go in there and you scoop it and you just line it up on the wall, like the retaining wall right at the edge of the patio, and then sure enough, after a little bit of time, the deer would come out and they would eat, and you could just sit right there and watch them eat. And then sometimes the squirrels would get after the food before the deer would show up, because there was a lot of squirrels in the area. But the deer, there would be mama deer with her babies would come up and eat, and the babies would sometimes come up. They were very skittish, but as long as mom felt okay, then the baby deer would feel okay. And then sometimes you would get these huge bucks, the big pointers. And yeah, it was a neat experience to grow up, because it taught me like a respect for nature, and that he always tried to keep the area as close to natural as possible, but also kind of create a bit of his own natural area with the rock walls. Like I remember just around trees, he would just put it slightly around the trees here and there, but it wasn't like a huge thing. It was just a nice little thing that he did. There's the road. Basically, you come in right here. There's that road I was talking about. There's basically, as soon as you come up to about right there off the right wingtip, you're going downhill, and then there's the road, because there's the airport, and then there's a road that goes, and Chester's right there in front of us, right off the nose there, right there. And it was kind of like I guess in a way, like a mining town and stuff like that, because this is a man-made lake, so probably a lot of the Chester kind of boomed with the folks who were there to make the lake, to create it. But yeah, like this whole area on this side of the peninsula, off the left wingtip there, it was all it was just this is the area, like my mom and stepdad have a house here on the shore off the right wingtip there, up on the other end. I'm telling you, Mick, if you ever went there, you'd be in heaven. You'd be like, yeah, I prefer to stay here, thank you. But it's not like there's not they have small grocery stores there in Chester. I don't think they have like the big name stores like we did in the Bay Area. But yeah, it was. They had a couple like smaller. There was like I think 2 grocery stores back in the day, and you could go to either one. And now I think there is one that's maybe like a chain grocery store, but yeah. Because I remember this was like one of the first kind of posh communities, because there's a golf course right there. I did play when I played golf for fun. I did play around there once. But, you know, the homes are, even back then, the homes were considered very high priced. But nobody really had found out about this area, so it was kind of like, it was a nice, quiet place to go and get away from, you know, even if you lived in Sacramento, getting up here wasn't too long of a drive. But yeah, eventually, once people found out about it, they were like, oh, let me... it's kind of like that song with from the Eagles. I can't remember what the title of it is, but they talk about if you call a place paradise, you can kiss it goodbye, because eventually all the big money spenders will find it and they will put up. Yeah, there's a lot of camp areas, exactly. Because I think right around here off the right wing tip is where my folks had their, my mom and stepdad, or my grandparents had their cabin, was along the, this is here, so it was like up here a little bit, and it was so yeah, now they have more golf courses. Like, this whole area was just kind of, you know, uninhabited. And look, you know, now you have all these fancy homes, and yeah, it's just, it's a bit sad, because it was fine the way it was, you know. But people, once they find something, they gotta, like, oh, we have to develop it even further. But, you know, that's what we do. We find something, we have to put our mark on it. So, yeah, like the area right around here was where my grandparents had the cabin. And you had, because there was like a little, you know, you had a kind of like a mom and pop sort of, like it had a small store there. Like, if you were camping, it had like the necessities basically. But if you wanted anything further, you had to go all the way back into Chester. But yeah, it was, they had stuff there. They had like fishing bait. If you were going fishing, you could get your bait there. I think if you were like a kid, you weren't required to have a fishing license, but like your grandfather was. You know, if he was fishing, he was supposed to have a fishing license on him. But yeah, you could just go down there and just hang out, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great place to spend as a kid. And but a lot of this, there's been a lot of wildfires here in this area as well, unfortunately. Of course, this isn't updated to show that devastation, but it's always one of, well, it's three things. It's either somebody purposely set a fire, or it's a lightning strike, which happens quite frequently, which I didn't know. Like it's like a known thing. And then also or it's the PG&E, their electrical systems, the stuff that they should have been upgrading for many years, they just were like, nope, it's still good. And then when it finally fails, it causes a fire. So there's one town, I have to ask my mom, I think it's a town over here. We're going to kind of fly over it. I think the whole town is pretty much gone from a recent fire. Like, it's just, you know, and it was one of those places, it was a neat little place to go, you know, because a lot of these communities, I think, started during the gold rush, and then people just stayed there, and, you know, their families stayed there, and, you know, because up here, most people, they're there because they don't want to be bothered by a lot of other people. They want to live their lives, and, you know, That's it. They don't want to. They're not imposing on anybody else. And, sometimes that's not always something that is appreciated, you know. But yeah, it was you know, some quiet places basically. But if you're not familiar with something like that, it's kind of like one of those like, oh, this is boring, you know. Why are we stopping here? You know. Which I think is normal when you're kids. You're just like, this. Why are we here? What's you know? But you don't realize that it's, you know, just enjoy the area and a lot of the people in the area. You know, if you were just passing through, they were very pleasant with you. I think it's lost a bit of its touch with all that area being built up there off the tail there. Once that just exploded, then I think it's kind of like it got ruined, unfortunately. But because it was going to be a straight shot, but I figured if and it wasn't going to take very long, but I figured if we flew up this way first and then over into our fictional airport there in Reno, that it would be a nice way to end the stream, and very scenic as well. In the winter, this area gets quite a bit of snow. The snowfall has been a little bit less, or very, you know, climate change or whatever, but they don't get as much snow as they used to. I remember one winter we went up there and they had like 9 feet of snow. Like it was, yeah. And you know, as a kid, you're just like, oh, it's amazing. You know, and there was, from my grandparents' home, from the cabin, you go down the street and around to the left, and then there's like a slight. When you're a kid, it seems like it's this massive hill, but when I went back there as an adult, I was like, this was not anything special. But when you're a kid and you're on one of them saucers or a toboggan or whatever, it's like you're going down Mount Everest basically. But so we would do that sometimes because they wouldn't plow it right away, so there'd just be enough snow that you could go down the hill on a little saucer, one of the metal things or whatever. Or we would go snowmobiling. My grandfather had 2 snowmobiles, and so we would go. Once we were old enough, we would go with him on a day trip. You know, we'd take either my brother or myself out for a little while. We would go. He knew where all the logging roads were, so we would follow the logging roads and just do all that. So that was really neat to be able to grow up doing that. I don't know why this thing did not switch over to our. So I think I missed the area where it was supposed to click over. That's all right. We're fine. So once you get on the logging roads back there, kind of, because you know, back when logging was one of the big businesses in this area, you would just find places that were very, you know, you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, but it's even more peaceful than you are anywhere else. Like you don't hear anything, you just hear the wind through the trees or the, you know, stuff like that. So that was very, very neat experience, I think. Yeah, I think this is the area that might have... I have to ask my mom, but I think it's... this area right here was completely wiped out. Let me add just a little bit more altitude. Just to be safe. But there, I think, well, there probably used to be, but I don't, you know, maybe eventually they'll return again. But there was a lot of camp, you know, you could find camp areas in a lot of the places. You know, it was I think it was a popular destination for quite some time for at least a few people who like to do the RV. You know, the I guess over there in the UK they call it caravanning. You know, you have a little camper in the back of your vehicle, and you go and just kind of relax, and usually you see a lot of the same people, sort of thing. This is a really neat little plane. Quite happy with it. Well, thank you all once again for coming in and hanging out today. Hopefully you enjoyed the scenery and just taking our time flying. Not in a rush or anything. Get there when we get there. But you're gonna where we're gonna land at. It's the coolest thing ever. I cannot wait. It's like if you were a pilot and you had a plane like this, you would have this. You would have your own little landing strip, and you would have this amazing house. I cannot wait to show you all this. It's fantastic. They really did a good job. The developers of this, and I don't know their names off the top, the developer names off the top of my head, or the company that did all this. But not only is the plane a lot of fun, but the fact that they added these little fictional landing strips and everything for different places for you to fly and enjoy. That, I think that's the selling point on this particular plane. That it's not that you're just getting different versions of the plane or anything like that. It's the fact that you're getting these little fun places to fly to or from. Yeah, look at that. Just all this wonderful land here. And that's the great thing. Like, we can appreciate this area, how it used to be before all these fires and whatnot destroyed a lot of it. But it will grow back eventually. The earth will heal itself like it always does after a fire. The ground will. It just takes time, but I'm glad we can see it. Can this plane do stunts? I think in theory it can. I mean, it's In a bush plane, yeah, you could, well, I think you could. Let's see if there's any sort of... Well, it says, this aircraft does not comply with federal safety regulations for standard aircraft. You could probably get away with something, but I think the problem, though, is, and I'm kind of guessing here, and I don't want to find out if my theory is correct or not. Because this is only a single engine plane, and it's pretty lightweight, you could probably get away with a barrel roll, but I think if you did, the plane would stall very quickly. Like, that would be the main, like you would probably crash very quickly. A loop, I don't know if you could even do a loop, because once you point the nose up and you're losing speed, yeah, you could probably try it. I don't know if you'd be successful, and I don't want to chance it. Not all planes are made for stunts, Joseph. Thank you for your attention. We'll get back into the stunt flying, or doing some fun sort of flying eventually. Kind of like what we used to do on Spitfire Saturdays, or on Sundays we would do a scenic flight, and then we would pop over into something. It's the thing is, Joseph, when it comes to stunt flying, or doing like barrel rolls and loops and stuff like that, is it possible? In theory, yes. Is it practical? Probably not. I think if I did it on this plane, with this plane in particular, it would stall out. We'd just fall out of the sky. Kind of like what happened with the flight yesterday, where we were coming in, and I think I stalled it out, and that's why we just went right into the ground. Although we managed to land, or we were on the right side up eventually, but yeah, it was like that stalling. That's the. But yeah, I think if I tried it, the plane would just like give up, and then we would be on a crash. If I had, if I had like a yoke and the throttles and everything, and I practiced with it to try something, off stream, up to the Timber House Brewing Lodge and oh, see, that's new. The Timber House. I don't think that was there when I was there in the past. But maybe, I don't know. Thank you all for the 11 likes. Appreciate that. But yeah, there's planes that are specifically like there's a biplane that you could do stunts in that it's fine because it's built for something like that. It's not you could do straight level flying, but it's more for, you could do like the air races, and you can just go zigzagging around and maybe do a loop or barrel rolls and stuff like that. But those are planes that have the ability, like the engine can handle doing all that. But I don't think this is more for just like the way this plane probably should be flown is we just come through this valley here, right? And I could just fly through, and if I had a yoke and everything, then it would be even much more fun to fly that way. But that's I could do it with my thumb, with the thumbstick, but my hand would just be, my thumb especially would fall asleep. So yeah, but yeah, there are planes that I have in the hangar that are able to do all that. I don't usually do it, or I was fine with it at first with just a controller, but it's not as steady, or it's not very easy to do with the controller. Like, it's not a very smooth, like, barrel roll or a good loop or whatever. At least I don't think so. But yeah. but that we do have planes that are designed specifically for that sort of thing. But I really truly enjoy doing these flights on Sundays because, you know, growing up there was a news show on, it was called Sunday Morning, I think, or something like that. The anchor or the host of the show was Charles Carroll. I remember his name. And they would do like these little sort of stories from around America, and some, but also they would do like, they would just show, I think it was towards the end, they would find a place, I think just as you come past the airport, Mick, and as soon as you get into town, that's part of Old Chester. It was very small. Like, you could go from one end to the other. It didn't take long back in the day. Like, you would go through and you were just like, we're already at the end of the town. You know, like you could, in some ways you could blink and you were already on the other end of town. But they would always do, getting back to what I was saying, so towards the end of the show they would have like these kind of peaceful scenes of nature, and you could hear like the birds, and maybe they would have like the stream or whatever, so you hear the water, and it was always a way to end the show like on a relaxing note kind of thing. And so that's what I like about doing these flights, is because we can enjoy the scenery, we can have a nice pleasant conversation and talk about these areas, and then that's a good way to start the week, I think. You know, versus, you know, like, you know, kind of thing. That's not a good way to start the week, already upset. You know, because then it just spills over to the rest of the week. So yeah, I do like this kind of flying. I wasn't sure about it at first, but it does seem to be a pretty big hit, that, you know, people like that, just coming in and just seeing the scenery, and we're not flying super fast, we're just enjoying the flight, you know. So yeah, I don't, the stunt stuff, maybe I'll do it at some point, but it's so yeah, Mick, if you search like Old Chester, it would show you, you know, maybe over the years what it looked like, you know. And as time went on, of course, it built up a little bit more as people stayed there and raised their families there, sort of thing. Schools went up and stuff like that. You know, businesses kind of expanded. There was like a old drugstore. I think it wasn't Walgreens. It was, I can't remember the name of it, but it had an actual soda fountain place there that you could go and get ice cream, like a float with, you know, root beer and stuff like that. And then they had the one place, the only fast food place in town was an A&W root beer place, and you could go get burgers, and, you know, they sold more than root beer, but that was like my grandfather's. If he was going to eat fast food, that was the place he went. Hello, Stefani. Let me hold on a second. I don't recognize your name, so let me give you the quick rundown about my channel. I am on the Xbox Series S. I have the deluxe version of Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We are flying in the Kitfox Series 5, STI, I think it is. We departed from a fictional airport in Red Bluff, and we are heading to a fictional airport here in Reno. I am not taking requests for flights at this time. My flight schedule is created well in advance and is subject to change on my own schedule. Thank you. That was your captain speaking. So yeah, I remember growing up, and, you know, of course, when you see these shows like the one with Charles Carroll back in the day, you don't really appreciate like, I didn't really care about the news stuff or whatever, but I always remember that ending where they would have like these, you know, like this basically scenic stuff, and yeah, that's amazing. So that's what we try to do on Sundays here. Just a nice relaxing flight, No barrel rolls or anything like that. Just enjoying the scenery. The air. Just having a good time. You know, because I'm not trying to be mean or anything, Joseph. It reminds me of the people that would come into like Joe's stream and say, "Can you crash the train for me?" Like, why would I purposely crash the train? You know, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm enjoying the train service. Why would I purposely crash it? But there's some people who will do that. But there's some people, I'm sure, on Microsoft Flight Simulator, streamers who will purposely crash their plane if that's your thing. But that's not what I do. I don't have... So, Stefani, I'm on the Xbox Series S. I don't believe that the AN2 Colt is available on the Xbox side. I don't recall seeing it in the marketplace or anything, or hearing about it on the Xbox side. It may come to the Xbox at some point. I don't know. But we're on the Xbox side. We're very limited in our choices because they discovered it's a issue with the way that the Xbox is designed, the architecture of it, as I understand it. They have to go in and kind of reprogram some things in order to get more aircraft to come to the Xbox. But thank you for your question. But I am enjoying this little plane. It's a lot of fun, and it's great. You have a bunch of different liveries for the plane, but it is a lot of fun to fly, I think. So we are still heading towards our fictional destination there. But yeah, that's the difficult part, because a lot of people ask me, well, why don't you fly this or whatever. Part of it is because I build my, I make my schedule pretty much, I fill it out for the whole month, and then there's, if something changes or whatever, then there's some wiggle room. But generally, that's how my channel runs. I sit down and I, like for flights like the flight we did over Norway. I find another place that looks very scenic and something different that most people may not know about or would like to see, but they're not going to be able to go. So that's what we try to do, and just try to discover new places together. And but yeah, but yeah, that's how the channel goes. But it's not uncommon for people to come in and ask about a certain aircraft that I don't have because I'm on the Xbox. But the other thing too is there's already so much to fly on the Xbox side that it's like you have a lot of choices. Yeah, yeah, it would be nice. I don't know, like their work. They think by July, when Sim Update 10 is released, that they will have a fix in place for stuff like that. But that's, they're continuing to test those things so that they know for sure what, that they feel like it's going to be stable enough to release it with Sim Update 10. Because that's one of the big complaints on the Xbox side, is that it's not that we have a lack of aircraft, it's just that people want more choices, as far as like if it's general aviation sort of stuff. They want more choices for that. Or jetliners, they want more choices for that. They don't want everything that's long distance, they want some regional stuff, But there's no guarantee. Jorg has basically said if they don't feel that that particular fix is stable enough when Sim Update 10 is released, then they will push it back. They won't put it out. until they feel confident that it's stable. And that's basically what we have to wait on them to make sure, because that they do want to bring more stuff to the Xbox side. But then again, once that happens, once they feel that they're confident, then the developers have to send their product to Microsoft to be tested before it goes into the marketplace, to make sure that it's going to be good, or as good as it can be, and then they will push it. So there's going to be a couple Thursdays, I think, in the future that we're just going to get a lot of content. A lot of aircraft are going to be released, and everybody's going to be like, oh, man, I want everything, but that's not very reasonable. But that's yeah. So I don't know what else to say. But that's why, Stefani, I made this. I have like a little card right next to me, so when somebody new comes in, I try to, before they ask a lot of those questions, I try to have the answers already, and that way I hopefully it negates any, not that I don't want to hear from you, but then basically where I come from, what I'm doing here. I think we need to climb a little bit. Well, you know what? What we're going to do, I head towards that lower part of that. We'll catch back up on. Because aviation graphic novels. I've never really read any, so I can't say that I have any thoughts about it. I mean, it's an interesting concept based, just from my own, thoughts, it sounds like it'd be a neat idea. I would think the one story, and I'm sure either it's already been done or somebody is planning on it, would be a graphic novel about Amelia Earhart's flight. Like maybe some issues where they fly. They took from here to there, and stuff like that. But we don't have I don't think we have a record of the dialogue between Fred Noonan and Amelia Earhart. So it'd be kind of like fictional dialogue between the two of them. But I mean, it's an interesting idea, for sure. I don't know, because I mean, there's definitely a lot of historical events that you could make a graphic novel out of. But again, it's unless you have a written record from the person, or you heard that they transcribed their radio transmissions, then it's all going to be it's going to be fictionalized, and it may not be anywhere close to the truth. But as long as the creators of it say, this is a fictional account based on real events, so we've created dialogue that we think fits the event. If that makes any sense. But I don't think I've ever seen any aviation graphic novels. At least not that I can recall, or I don't think I've heard of any. But it certainly is an interesting idea, for sure. Alright, we still got, I think we got some flying to go, because it didn't switch over to the next, or to our destination. I don't know how much longer we got to go, but we'll get there when we get there. Keep enjoying the scenery. So I think we are already in Nevada now at this point. So we are not far from Reno. There's an area called Truckee. I've been through there before. They have it's not a huge Union Pacific yard, but they have one in Truckee. Yeah, it's like I don't know, like a halfway point for the freight services or something. Hello, Old Crankman. Welcome. Nice to see you here. We are here in the little Kitfox, so we're heading to a fictional airport in Reno. As soon as we land, we'll be wrapping up the stream for today. I'm doing well, thank you. Thank you all once again for coming in and hanging out. Hope you might go to the thrift store today and see if they have a vacuum I can make a video of. Oh, okay. What, I mean, you have a ton of vacuums. Why not any of the ones you already have? But I mean, just out of curiosity, but hopefully you find what you're looking for. All for the 12 thumbs up. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you for the 3 viewers over on Twitch. You're enjoying the scenery. Probably a lot. You can pay $6 for a used machine. Oh, okay. Fair enough. I didn't know if there was any specific reason or if there was something there that you have had your eye on that you want in your collection, I guess. I think as we continue to head to our destination here, I'm going to take just a quick break. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Oh! Our destination is over there. Let's head over that way. Well, first let's drop some altitude. See if we can. There it is, Freedom Fox home. One zero. Oh, it's right there. Boy, that was a lot closer than I expected. There's a young maid who flies to the rescue as she rescues her master from a deserted island after his yacht hits an underwater rocky ridge and sinks. But that sounds like an interesting idea. I think we're going to use the landing guide. Yeah, Stefani, I think that's a interesting storyline. Now, are you an artist, or are you just a writer, or both? Just out of curiosity. Or would you need an artist or a writer, or? Not that I'm an artist or anything, but I'm just out of curiosity. What are you? You know, what would be your role in all that? If you're going to do it all on your own, I commend you for that. Oh, oh, nice. So are you going to try to self-publish it, or are you looking to get somebody to publish it for you? I guess would be the other question. Doing it all, okay, nice. Well, hopefully it works out for you. All right, there's our little. It should be it right there. Is that it? I have a hard time believing that's it. No, it must be on the other side of this. Yeah, we may have to. Is that it? Let's have a look here. Well, don't see any kind of a runway. Anything that... No, it must be on the other side. Oh, okay. We gotta go down the valley here. It's gonna be to our left. I know what we'll do. Oh, right there. Okay. That was kind of a weird... So I think it's the other way. We wanted to come in the other way. That's all right. We'll end it the other way. Publishing company to have... nice. Sorry, I'll catch up to the rest of your story there in just a moment. Once I'm on the ground. So the the opposite runway would have been not 10, but the other end would have been the better choice here. It's not sure. I wasn't sure which one to pick because it's not labeled very clearly. Oh boy, we are way off. Okay, let's fly around again. There's our little home. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, no. Why did it do that? Oh, goodness gracious. Anyway, this is the... I was really trying to get it under control, and it just totally nosed over and then died on me. Yuck. Anyway, so check this out. It's got this neat little hangar for your plane. And then look at this house. Check this out. Like it's kind of cardboardy and all that, but I mean, the idea of a place like this. You got a nice little deck back here and all that. Little garden area out back with a patio. Oh, there's the barbecue. Little table out back. Mick, I think we found a place for you. I mean, it's kind of modern, but it's also like it's like a modern cabin almost. But you got this nice fenced-in area. You could let the dogs run around out here. But yeah, it's got a... Oh, there's a cement mixer there. That's interesting. I wonder if they're going to like improve upon this and put a paved runway in eventually. But basically, that's what it is. I apologize for nosing over. I was trying to get the aircraft to slow down, but it just went on me. So, yay. One of those landings, yeah. I have a comic publisher to have the publishing rights, and if it gains enough interest, then I will be doing a full comic series of the sequel. Chosen. Nice, Stefani. Well, I hope it works out for you. It sounds like a very interesting idea. Hopefully you have some success with that, or a lot of success. But anyway, so basically, if you fly out of here, you start in here, and then you start your plane and you taxi out. And then runway 10 is your departure runway from here. But the other way is the landing because it's uphill. So, anyways, there we go. Oh, look at got a little. Oh, I thought this was a pond. Maybe it is. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I hear the water, so it's like a pond or something. Yeah, pretty cool. Oh, can we go in here? Oh, we can go inside. Look at that. Hardwood floors. Fancy barbecue. There's a bedroom. I'm guessing another bedroom. Yeah, pretty neat little place, I think. They did a great job with this. All right. Yeah, I know you would, Mick. I was like, it's one of those areas you can get to with your little. Oh, look at that! They put a little Kitfox in the back, like an RC plane. That's pretty cool. So yeah, you get a little pickup truck for you to get to civilization when you're ready to. Yeah, got your own little driveway. Take you out to the main road, and you can get to Reno, I'm sure, for grocery shopping. Yeah, really neat little place, I think. So, I'm sure somebody needs to empty that bin out. That doesn't look very good. Oof. Anyway, that's going to be it for today, folks. Let me go back in here and make sure all the switches are off. I don't think they are. Nope, they aren't. It looks like the plane's trying to crawl uphill. Look at that. There we go. Hour and 16 minutes. Not too shabby. We did get a takeoff, but we didn't get credit for a landing. Something's not right. I don't know what's happening, but... Anyways, wow, we've been going for almost 2.5 hours. Time flies. No pun intended. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Thank you all for coming in and hanging out. Thank you for the 12 thumbs up. So, hopefully you enjoyed everything today. I will see you back tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 11:30 UTC, 12:30 UK time, as we continue our flight from Heraklion to Mersa Matruh. That's going to be a bit of a long one. That's going to be leg 8 of our 32-leg flight to the former Dutch East Indies / San Jose, or Indonesia. Sorry. So do join us for that if you are able to. If not, have a great rest of your Sunday morning, afternoon, evening, early Monday, depending on where you are in the world. Peace. Live long and prosper.